Hi everyone, I'm Theo from puckerblocks.com. Today I'm going to review the Stillman and Birn sketchbook. Stillman and Birn is a manufacturer of several sketchbooks. Currently they have 6 series, the Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon and Zeta. So today the one I'm going to review is the Alpha series. So what's the Alpha series? The Alpha series is basically 150 GSM paper, natural white, and comes in a hardbound or spiral bound. Mine is the hardbound. The sketchbooks actually come in several sizes. A5 I think is the smallest one, but they can go up to much larger. So what I like about the sketchbooks is that the binding is very good. So they can open flat. In this case you can see that. So all this here are actually stitch binding. So when you have your new sketchbooks and the pages may look something like this, you can actually just pull them backwards just to make them flatter. Okay. The cover can actually go all the way back, I think, so it's quite durable in that sense. So this is the A5 portrait one, and this is the landscape one. So I actually have two sketchbooks. One that I use for color studies, just to test out color mixtures or color swatches, and the other one I use for my sketches. Okay, let's take a closer look at how drawing mediums work on this paper. Okay, so these are the two Alpha series sketchbooks that I have. The covers are actually very, the hardcover is quite thick, and they have this embossed behind the sketchbook. But other than that, it's pretty much you can't differentiate it from other sketchbooks. So let's just take a look at these portrait sketchbooks first. This is the one that I use for to test out color swatches and watercolors. So the paper is white, as I've mentioned, and it takes watercolors very well. I find that the colors come out quite accurate, and there's no like dulling down of the colors. So the vibrancy and the saturation are definitely there, and you can also get very interesting granulation as well. So this paper works for granulating pigments. So these are some of the watercolor swatches that I test on this sketchbook. Because there are 124 pages, which is quite a lot, so it's good if you want to compare against different brands. You can test all the swatches in one book and compare against different brands. The paper is 150 GSM, so it's not exactly thick, but thick enough for watercolor. Here I have some black ink swatches. Now you may be able to see some impression of the swatches from the opposite page. For these two swatches I use quite a lot of ink, so there is some bleed through. But for pen and ink sketches, there is not going to be any bleed through problems. And also the lines come out very sharp, so there's no feathering and that sort of thing. More color swatches. These are color pencils. So the paper is sort of like a cartridge paper. There's a bit of a fine grain in it. So I tested some color pencils on it, and you can see that the paper has some tooth. So the white of the paper will show through. And if you want to not want to show the white, then you really have to layer a lot of pigment on it. These are some color pencil swatches. This is a charcoal pencil. This is just normal color pencils. Pastel pencils. I actually sprayed fixative on it to prevent smudging. These are some watercolor pencils. And and more color swatches. Okay, let me show you the other sketchbook to see how it works actually in real life. This is the landscape sketchbook that I kind of like. So you can see that the granulation works pretty well. Colors come out quite accurately. This is a watercolor palette that I use for this particular sketchbook. One thing to note is this sketchbook, because it's 150 GSM, the paper does warp a bit. So you can see the page is a bit wavy here at this particular section, because these are all pages filled with the watercolor sketches, and these are the original pages without any sketches on it. So the paper does warp and becomes wavy a bit, and you have to take note of that, because when the paper warps, there will be areas of the paper where there are low-lying regions areas. So pigment will tend, if you use too much water, pigment will tend to flow to those areas. For example, in the sky area for this sketch, when I use too much water, the pigment starts to flow to those low-lying areas, and when it dries, the pigment will concentrate on those spots. So you can see the concentration at these various spots there. This is one thing to note if you are doing wet on wet, especially, and because the paper does warp, becomes wavy, so you have to take note, you have to be precise in your control of water, not to use too much or too little, so that you can get a somewhat even wash or gradated wash. Just a flip through of some of my sketches, some lovely granulation going on. Overall, I think this sketchbook is very good for all sorts of medium, like pen, pencil, and watercolor. So that's basically good enough for most general sketches. I like that it's 124 pages, so you really can feel a lot of sketches in the book. This is a very nice size as well. So that's it for the review, and these are really good sketchbooks that you can try it out. They are, I think, a bit expensive compared to other brands, but take note that they have 124 pages and they are good for watercolor, pen, ink, and pencil. And they come in landscape as well as portrait, wire-bound, and hardcover. So thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more art product reviews in the future. Thanks. Oh, if you want to buy this sketchbook, you can check out the links below in the YouTube description. There's also a link to my written review and with all the sketches that I scanned from this sketchbook. Thanks.